Hey everyone, it's Matt Donahue with Mission Financial Planners. Today is your weekly market update for the week ending October 25th. Let's jump into it. It's Halloween week. You can see I'm dressed a little more casually. I'm a Disney bad guy today. We will see how the rest of the week goes, but Halloween's a big deal in our house. We have two kids at home still, and my wife's birthday is this week as well. Next week is Election Day. The week after that is Veterans Day, right? So there's a lot going on right now. And hey, the American consumer, by the way, they're doing a great job as well. In a year with growth, inflation, interest rate changes, fiscal and geopolitical uncertainty, there's been one thing to count on, folks, and that's you. Despite rising delinquencies and data that basically was indicating a slow savings rate or a low savings rate, consumer spending has defied expectations of a slowdown. People are still buying. In September, the Bureau of Economic Analysis annual revisions to the national income and product savings rate may explain why. This week's chart, you'll want to check out our blog post for it, but this week's chart shows the average personal savings rate in the 5 years prior to the pandemic compared to 2024. That's both before and after the BEA's annual revisions. Prior to revisions, the personal savings rate averaged a record low of 3.4%. After revisions, though, it jumped all the way to 5.2%. So while still below average in the 5 years before the pandemic, this does imply that consumers are now in better shape than what was initially anticipated. Third quarter GDP, well, hey, we're going to have a look at that next week, or actually this week, excuse me. Investors can find some peace of mind knowing that in aggregate, the consumer looks healthy. Now, there's a divergence, right? We've got, like I said last week, we have two different economies going on. We have the wealthy economy and the not wealthy economy. Rising wealth is supporting the strong spending in the higher income cohorts, while lower income households are still under a lot of pressure. Overall, though, when you put it together, bolstered by 17 straight months of positive year-over-year real wage gains, consumers should continue spending at a healthy rate, which may allow the U.S. economy to maintain a soft landing well into next year. So moving forward, what does that all mean? Well, a resilient consumption amount or consumer, I guess, should support earnings, allow equities to grind higher still, and a stable economy should allow the Fed to methodically ease policy. Now, the week ahead, hey, we have a jobs report coming out, third quarter GDP. We have the PCE coming out. That's going to tell us a little bit about inflation. And then, of course, non-farm payrolls as well. So lots of information this week. Check out our blog post, a lot more detail in the blog post. Our philosophy quote of the week, hey, we were made for each other. You'll find more quickly an earthly thing kept from the earth than you will a person cut off from other human beings. Now, that's from our friend Marcus Aurelius again. Now, what on earth does that mean? Believe it or not, he's talking about gravity there. He's saying, look, you are much more likely to find something floating than you are people who are totally cut off from other people or want to be cut off from other people. So we're made for each other, right? How could you apply that in your life? Hey, just remember, we need people. We need people to help us with stuff. We need to help other people, right? And so working together, regardless of our differences, can be a great way for us to be able to support each other, not necessarily when things are going bad, but when things are going well also. Tax tip of the week is all for military personnel. Again, we have Veterans Day coming up in a few weeks here. A couple key things, and again, go to our blog post for more details on this. If you're serving overseas in a combat zone, you can file your tax return late. There's a combat pay exclusion. There's qualified reservist distribution and repayments, and there's a bunch of other stuff as well. So when you're thinking about, hey, you know what, I'm in the military, I know someone who's in the military, make sure they're talking to people about financial planning, right? Because they may have some opportunities there that they didn't know about. For example, years ago, I was in the Army National Guard. When I was in the National Guard, guess what? I didn't know about any of those tax advantages. It would have helped a little bit, right? So just make sure that those people at that point in time are informed, right? Point them our way if they want some help. Um, Wrapping up though, talking about financial planning month. This is our last post on financial planning month. We're going to talk a little bit about estate planning, but more specifically, living wills, healthcare proxies, and advanced healthcare directives. Essentially, what these do is they allow you to be able to basically control what happens if you're incapacitated. So let's say you're in a bad accident, you can't make decisions for yourself. Your family's maybe arguing over what did Matt want, right? We don't know, we're not sure. Well, guess what? Matt had a current living will, medical directive, et cetera, and it was very clear that he wants these things to happen if he is in this type of situation. So make sure you do that. And when you're talking to your attorney, ask them to review your will and your trust as well, because there's always a lot of changes in probate law. You always want to make sure you're current with that stuff. Okay. So that's it for the week, right? We've got a lot going on. Oh, don't forget, Wednesday this week, we're going to be doing a webinar. We're going to talk about the state of the how elections impact the market. Okay, we're not going to be endorsing a candidate. We're not going to talk about one party does better than the other. We're just going to say, hey, look, here's what happens when or in an election year. But check that out for more information. Again, go to our website, check out our blog post as well. You can sign up for that webinar by going to www.mfplanners.com or missionfinancialplanners.com. Check out our blog post there as well. Of course, if you have any questions, always feel free to reach out. You can call us at 888-339-0093. Once again, 888-339-0093, or email us admin@mfplanners.com. Thanks again, everyone. Have a great week. We'll see you next week. Enjoy Halloween. Bye.